Hello everybody. Well, today I'm going to take this in a different direction. Pretty much showed you what I'm into as of vaping, you know, as of today, what I'm doing and all that, but I've just never really showed how it began with me and what I started off on, so kind of like to, just give you a little of the ins and outs on that. And once again, that's somebody that's, maybe in the beginning stages of vaping and not quite ready to get into the little fancier mods and tanks and equipment that's out there right now. And I've got it broke down. So actually what I started off on when I started vaping, I bought a little starter kit in a vape store. It came with a little battery, which was even smaller than this. It's about a 900 milliamp battery. Uh, wouldn't last all day, but uh, a good portion of it, just depending on how hard you vaped on it. It just that always is the call on which way it goes. But started off on that, and just some little cheap tanks that resembled this right here. Of course, wasn't as good as this, but somewhere close to that. Did that for a little while and realized, okay, I want something a little bit better, but pretty much in the same size and form as, what I've had, excuse me. Uh, so I stepped to a Vision spinner battery. Got the version 1. It had an adjustable voltage. Make sure I'm correct on that right there. It's been so long since I've messed with this. Yes, the voltage was adjustable. And how you did that, if you can see on the bottom of the battery, it's marked. And it goes from 3.5 to 4.8. On the first version, it was just a little dial you could spin, and it really wouldn't stay in place. So if you put it in your pocket or you accidentally hit it, it wouldn't be where you had it set. On the newer ones, they made it where it clicks into place. So a whole lot better. The one thing about these though, um, to me, they're a little pricey. This is the Spinner 2, so second version right here. The thing about this, it's a 1600 milliamp battery, and I could probably get close to a day and a half out of one, maybe a little longer. Once again, just all depending on the 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 time that I was vaping on it. So, um, but the price point on them, and I'm even looking at price right now. They're still going for right at $35, and for that price now on some of the equipment that's out there, um, I'd be more inclined to get like an iStick 30 or something like that. There's not much of a difference in price, and I think you could get a longer lifespan out of the iStick 30 or something. Even though the iStick 30 is going to be a little bit bigger than this, as of the roundness to it, but the height wise, this has got it. So, but once again, it's all in the touchy feely type stuff. People, might just want this set up. It just all in preference. You just that's how it goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and prime. See, I'm getting mixed up here. What I initially started off on was a Protank3 Kangertech. Love this tank. Actually had 2 or 3 of them. I got to the point where I was buying. I bought an extra one just to have different juices in, and just could keep switching them out all the time. Like I said, great tank. I mean, it's built solid. Uh, if you cracked your little gold ass tank here, I mean, they were cheap as hell to replace. So all in all, these were good. Coils were cheap. I mean, just all the way around compared to what, you know, if you get into the bigger stuff nowadays. But ran a couple of those, and just about close to the time that I got away from the smaller Evide stuff here, and was really starting to get into sub-ohming and stuff like that, this little Protank3 was the last one that I purchased, and hadn't actually had it all that long until I started sub-ohming. So I'm going to go ahead and put some juice in there. This is a little sample bottle I got from Mount Baker Vapor. So on these, even though I know I have it broke down, you would put your juice right there in the bottom of this little well. It's just a miniature version of all these bigger tanks that are out there. But you just want to kind of keep it leaned. Let your juices go in. And honestly, because I haven't looked lately, I think capacity on these are like a 1.5 or something. It's barely anything at all. I'm so used to having these big tanks now. But also too, when I started, the coils, which are just so tiny now compared to what I'm using. This is a Kangertech dual coil unit. And I believe they just started going to these dual coils right about the time I got away from this tank. So I didn't get to use them that often. I still have a brand new box I had just purchased. And like I said, when I got this tank, I hadn't used it that long until, actually I had bought a Nautilus Mini. Started off with that, and then jumped in pretty hard into the sub-ohm stuff. So they kind of walked away and left this behind. But like I said, this was pretty much a brand new box. So the resistance on these, it's a 1.5 ohm coil. So let me get this thing. So it sits on this little miniature base, and it has your little pre-drilled holes in there for your airflow. So there's no adjusting the airflow. And you just screw your coil on that top piece right there. And then all you're going to do is insert this into the chimney. Tighten that up. And just flip it over. One other thing is you got to be so careful with these little Pyrex glass tanks, these little small ones. I actually took this apart, and it's been together, sitting up in a bag of mine I've had for a while, and I wanted to clean it up. And a little top piece of the tank up in here chipped, because this all breaks down, but it stayed together and didn't crack, so I just kind of pushed it back, hoping that I'm not going to have any issues, which I'm really just doing this to make the video, just to kind of show y'all beginners on this. This won't be really getting used anymore, but I don't feel any juice leaking out from the top. But so that's your setup. A little miniature drip tip on it, and it is removable, so you can break this down and clean it up real good. Excuse me. And the thing I liked so much about this was the stainless steel look to it, opposed to, it was kind of a little wonky on this one. You had a different colored airflow control piece at the bottom. It was like a brass looking colored, and it just didn't match up right. So that right there was really made it look pretty good. So actually I have two of these. I've got a silver one, and it comes in the black. And there's a story behind this too. let me find my one. Now these are basically set up just like what you do in a lot of your bigger box mods, you know, and stuff like that. It's five. It is 5 clicks on. So, let me go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is on. And the kind of cool thing on the Vision batteries is that in the white, it's fully charged. Then it goes to a yellow, and then it goes to correction. It goes from white, fully charged, blue to it's starting to sink. I don't know the exact percentages, and then to a yellow when it's about to be out. So, and this is threaded either way. So actually, you can run 510 pins on it, which I mean, I wouldn't really suggest you do on something like this, but you can. So it's threaded both ways. And it's been so long since I've messed with one of these. Please, all my information is correct pretty much, but if I mess up something a little bit, don't be getting down on me. I've been using bigger and better stuff for a good while, and kind of I'm having to school myself a little bit again on it, but I don't even know how well this, I haven't done this in forever. So all right, it's got some airflow on it. Haven't really, this is zero Nick in this juice, by the way. This is Maui Sunrise. So this was a little sample bottle I got with something that I had ordered through them. I don't even remember what it was, but we're going to take a little hit of this, see what happens. Not bad, not much, but this ultimately is what got me off cigarettes. This right here. Like I said, it's not my exact first setup, but it is very, very similar to it. And at the time, I mean, this thing produces, for as small as it is, it puts out a decent amount of vapor. So if you're just getting started and you're trying to get off cigarettes, opposed to the little cheap, raggedy shit you'd find in a little, you know, gas station or something, it has nothing on something like this. I also had my holes drilled out a little bit more so I could get a little better airflow going. So straight out of the box, your holes normally wouldn't be that big, so it's going to tend to be a little bit more of a draw. So it won't be that loud, because that's fairly loud for something this small. But somebody suggested that I do it, or did that, and I loved it ever since. So like I said, it's not bad. This particular flavor, I'm not getting anything. I can't taste anything off of it. So maybe because there's no nick in it, but just for, like I said, if you're trying to get off cigarettes or something like that, it's a perfect little thing to get started off on. Of course, I did another video a while back on the Nautilus Mini, and that particular setup in itself is another good one. It's a little bit more advanced. You're going to get you're going to get quite a bit more vapor production off of it. The flavor is also going to be better off of that, but that in itself might be a little bit too much for somebody just getting off cigarettes. And I tend to notice that because I've almost been cigarette free now for 2 years. I'm seeing that when people that I know are like, man, let me try that. Let me see what it's like. If they're trying it, in this kind of fashion or a bigger tank or something, and I'll tell them, I'll say, now don't hit it hard. You just barely kind of hit off of it. They'll do it. They're like coughing their brains out, and I'm thinking, man, I don't really remember doing that. But I started off on something like this, so that's why I say that uh, my favorite term is baby steps. You wanna. This is a good thing right here. Like I said, I did this for at least almost a year and a half just doing this setup, and just buying juice and coils, and it worked perfect. But now that I've gotten into the more advanced stuff, this is what I really enjoy now. So, like I said, this is about, and for somebody that's never seen this before, I'll give you a quick, show you the difference. That right there, opposed to something which is on temp control with nickel on a vapor shark. So, night and day again. But I highly suggest something like this right here for a beginner. It really will work. And like I said, when I started on something like this, I was at 24 milligrams on Nick, so it hit fairly hard. Uh, there's no way I could do 24 Nick on something like this. It would just literally choke me up and put me down. There's no way. But on something smaller that's a lot more restricted, uh, you can do mouth to lung off this. This is really what this is made for. It's not made for me sitting here trying to do a big lung hit off of it. Which that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. But, it's more for the, just replicating smoking a cigarette or so. And you get a little bit better flavor trying to do something like that off of this. So, like I said, once again, people that are just getting into this, it's a perfect little device. Like I said, cost you a little bit up front, but it's better to spend the money up front, get the right stuff. And like I said, this setup right here, I think right now this setup would probably cost you, what, 35, maybe 15 on the tank. You're looking maybe total with coils and everything, roughly maybe about 55, 60 bucks. It depends on, you can get online, you can shop the hell out of it, you can find good prices. Your local shops might have something good, but opposed to going into some little convenience store spending, $5 to $8 on something that you're going to wind up throwing away because it's disposable, and you only get a certain amount of hits off of it, and the flavor itself is just ungodly horrible. This is the thing to do right here. Um, so the setup itself is not bad. You do this for a while. You either you either quit completely, if that's your intention, which is, very easy to do with this, or you just do this. Uh, my goal ultimately was to get off cigarettes, which I did, and pretty much maybe just to quit it all. But of course, as I've done this, for a good while. It's turned into more of a hobby. But my nic levels, as I stated here just earlier, I started at 24 milligrams on nic. Now I'm down to 3, you know, and you really, once you go below 3, there's nothing in it. And that's what this is right here. There's 0 nic in this little bit of sample juice I just got, and it's not bad. You know, the flavor's there, but I'm still enjoy just my little bit of nic in there. But ultimately, this is what I've gone to, and if you check any of my videos out, like I said, I've been doing this for almost 2 years. I've just started dripping, which that's a whole other thing, and that's pretty neat in itself too. But if I have one love to all this, it's really this right here. I'm really enjoying temperature control on the nickel coils, and the Vapor Shark is just badass. You know, flavor's just, oh, flavor's awesome on it. Of course, on something like this too, you know, then you've got to start, you know, messing with your VG PG rating, which, you know, on these sub-ohm tanks, you really want to go with a higher VG. You'll have a thicker base juice, opposed to this is just a 50-50, so it's kind of a little bit more of a watered down, just the viscosity to it, you know, it's nothing like what that is. That's almost syrupy, so and it just makes it easier for it to do its thing. And also, it's nice to have the the adjustable voltage at the bottom. So, like I said, you can go from a 3.3 up to 4.8. And actually, right now, that's what I've got this at, is 3.8. So let me kick it on up. Normally, I would run this at 4.3 when I was doing this. And let me even see what that's like still. That's a little better, but we'll take it up to the max at 4.8. I have to say, there's not just a whole lot of flavor on this juice to me. I don't know if it's because of I'm so used to what I'm doing now, but and there's no nic in it either, so but yeah, once again, this is coming from somebody that smoked for 27 years. I know what the addiction's like. I know what it feels like to smoke a cigarette. I know how this replicates smoking a cigarette, and if there's anything close enough to it, other than this being a whole lot bigger than a cigarette, this really does the job right here. Now, and let me also state, because I think there's people that view this in different ways. Some people have to actually have something in their hand and it, you know, trying to replicate a cigarette. Not that wasn't for me. Mine was more or less still just the intake of nicotine and, you know, just being able to produce some type of, which it's not smoke, it's vapor, but just to being able to produce that. So all this I hear people, well, you know, I got to at least have something in my hand that feels like a cigarette. Well, if y'all had a cigarette like this, that was a bad boy cigarette. But like I said, this is very light though. It's a little tall, so you know, I mean, if you got a pocket up on front, you're not really going to be sticking it in the pocket because it's sure going to hang out. But they make little lanyards, little holsters, all kind of crap for them. You know, if you're into it that hard and have to do it. I either kept mine in my hand, kind of kept it close with maybe if I had, you know, shorts on, whatever. If I knew I wasn't going to sit down or whatever, just kind of slide it in the back pocket if I wasn't going to use it for a few. But, you know, like I said, that varies with everybody on how you're going to roll with that. But, so yeah, that's it right there. Once again, this is the Vision Spinner 2 battery, which, like I said, if you want to go this style, I think it's a perfect battery to go with. I'm still seeing them here right now. I just typed in the first one I pulled up was MVS, My Vapor Store. They've got them for $34.98. It appears they've got them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hell, they got them more than that in colors. They got quite a few colors, but here's a little tech on them. If the white light's showing, like I was trying to tell you earlier, you're between 60 to 100%. When the blue light appears, you're from 30 to 60%. And when the orange light comes on, you're going 0 to 30. So when your orange light comes on, it's about time to get it back on a charger. By the way, charging this, very simple. Most of your kits nowadays are going to come with a little charger like this. And roughly all you do is just screw your tank off. You'll have the battery. You're just going to screw it into this. And then you're either going to use your USB into your computer or have a little wall charger, crank it in. Light's going to blink for a second and it'll let you know when it's charged. There'll be a white light on your button to let you know. Charging time, I'm trying to remember about how long. Actually, I don't remember that either. Normally when I did mine, I always would plug mine in before I went to bed. I think it takes maybe a little over an hour, somewhere in that area to charge. I could be wrong, but I think it was somewhere there. It's been so long. A good little setup though. Like I said, you would definitely enjoy that, and you do that for a while, graduate into a little bit bigger and better, and just keep rolling. Or if not, you know, you just hang with this, and you know, you do whatever. Well, okay. I hope I haven't rambled on too much here, but this probably really should have been my first review I had done here, just for the simple fact that, you know, this is where I started. But you know, I don't even know what to say on that. It's my deal. I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it. So, but I figured I should throw it in there. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. And once again, I thanks everybody for subscribing to me. Sure love to keep that number rolling up, and I'm gonna keep rolling on with this stuff. So y'all have a good day. We'll talk at you soon.